All eyes may be on former President Donald Trump's arrest and how he plans to capitalize on it, but Americans in Washington should really be focused on the rapidly approaching debt ceiling crisis. All that and more now on Graf's Grievances. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warning America will be unable to pay its bills as early as this June. This comes after America reached its borrowing limit in January. And with no deal in sight to raise the debt ceiling, economists warn America is at risk of an unmitigated disaster that could see skyrocketing unemployment, a severe recession, and a stock market crash. Of course, all this could be easily avoided if Congress just raised the amount of money America can borrow to pay its bills. However, Republicans in Congress have so far refused to raise the debt ceiling without demanding spending cuts. President Biden and Democrats maintain that paying America's bills is non-negotiable, and raising the debt ceiling should not be tied to cuts in federal spending. So what is this really all about? This is about paying for the stuff that Congress has already spent money on. This is not about new spending. This is about covering the bills we have already accumulated for stuff Congress has already voted on that we have already spent money on. For example, Congress passed the infrastructure bill. They already said we're going to spend X amount of money on infrastructure. Now, America needs to borrow money in order to cover that spending that Congress already approved. This is not about more spending. If Congress wants to address additional spending and curtailing additional spending, they need to focus on the budget. The budget is how much we spend every year, not what we have previously spent. Republicans are trying to paint the Democrats and President Biden as big spending liberals. However, the problem here is the debt ceiling was raised 3 times during the Trump administration, and Republicans did not demand any spending cuts for raising the debt ceiling under former President Donald Trump. So why now are Republicans forcing or trying to force President Biden to cut spending in exchange for raising the debt ceiling? Well, Speaker McCarthy was elected Speaker after promising some of the Republicans in his caucus that he would not agree to allow any House votes to raise the debt ceiling without attaching spending cuts. So this is how McCarthy was able to get the votes he needed. As you'll recall, it took many, many votes to become Speaker of the House. So, okay, Republicans want spending cuts. What are those spending cuts? That's the thing. Republicans will not make public what they want to cut in exchange for agreeing to raise the debt ceiling. Why do the Republicans not want to say what programs they want to cut? Likely because they know it won't be popular with the American people. All of this is very separate from the national debt. The national debt is almost $3.2 trillion. You might think that's too high, you might think it's not an issue, but irrespective of that, the debt needs to be addressed by budgets going forward. And the proposals that President Biden, he proposed his budget for the next fiscal year, and Republicans proposed. That's how you tackle the debt. Are you going to raise taxes? Are you going to cut spending? Those things can have a dramatic impact on the national debt and really address that issue. But failing to raise the debt ceiling will only increase the national debt because it will cause chaos in the economic markets. So Republicans are creating this whole catastrophe or possible catastrophe when they're insisting on playing with the debt ceiling. Thanks for watching Graph's Grievances. Let me know what you think about this issue.